everyone, my name is Mrs. Lambert and I have yet another card game for you today. I love using cards for family math games because they're so versatile. You can play so many different types of games with them. So here's another one. This one's called Close Call. If you played my game Close to 100, you remember you were trying to make numbers that when you added them together, you tried to get as close to 100 as possible, right? So this is kind of the opposite. Instead of addition, you're going to be using subtraction. And instead of trying to get to 100, you're going to be trying to get as close to 0 as possible. So similar idea to the game, but different strategy. So let's get started. You're going to need a deck of cards. Like I mentioned before, you only want the single digit numbers in your deck. So aces through nines, because the cards are going to be acting as digits within your 2-digit numbers. And if you would like, you can keep the queens inside your deck and those will act as zeros. If that's too difficult for your child, just leave them out and just play with 1 through 9. Okay, so you're going to deal out 2 cards to each player. I'm just going to be playing by myself today, but you can play with a partner or a small group. And then set the rest of the cards in a draw pile for the next round. Oops, did I say 2 cards? I meant 4 cards. You want 4 cards for each player. Okay, and so you're going to be taking these 4 cards and you want to arrange them into 2 2-digit numbers that when you subtract them, they get as close to 0 as possible. So the numbers I have here are 7, 4, 5, and 7. So I'm trying to think of 2 numbers that are kind of similar, right? Because if you take a number away from itself, it equals 0. So I'm trying to get 2 similar 2-digit numbers. Oh, look at this. I have 75 and 74. So if I subtract 74 away from 75, I get 1. That's pretty darn close to 0. So I'm going to write that down on my recording sheet because we're going to be playing 5 rounds, so you want to kind of keep track of your score. So 75 minus 74 equals, doesn't equal 0. It equals 1. Remember, mistakes are learning opportunities, so don't make your child feel any shame if they make a mistake. Just ask them to correct it, see what they did wrong. Okay, so right now my score is 1. I'm going to keep a running total on the side where I'm going to be adding up my numbers from each round. At the end of 5 rounds, whoever has the smallest number wins the game, because that means that they got as close to 0 as they could in each round. So right now my running total is just 1. Okay, then it would be my partner's turn to play, right? They would show what 2 2-digit numbers they got out of their 4 cards. And then it would be my turn again. So I would take 4 cards. Okay, here we go. I have a 7, a 2, a 9, and a 6. So I think I'm going to make 72 minus 69 equals 3. Okay, so now I talked about that running total, right? So I got 3 points in the second round, so I'm going to add them to the 1 point I had in the first round for a total of 4 points. So play would continue like this. You'd keep going back and forth with your partner or the small group that you're playing with. After 5 rounds, whoever has the smallest running total wins the game. So some questions you can ask your child when they have the 4 cards in front of them. What are they looking for? How do they know that they're going to get closest to 0? Is it beneficial to make the biggest number every time or the smallest numbers every time? Or do they have to change it up? What's their strategy in using that? Or when they're doing their subtraction, what kind of strategy are they using? or even when they're adding up their running totals. How are they doing that? To make the game easier, you can ask, or you can only have your child pull out 2 cards and just subtract those 2. And then whoever is closest to 0 after 5 rounds wins. So they don't have to be building those 2-digit numbers. That really simplifies the game for them. Okay, I hope you enjoy this one, and I will see you next time.